Welcome everybody to Super Mega Baseball 3. Today's going to be the very first off-season here in the franchise. We've completed year 1, and it looks like we might be a playoff team here in our very first season. But of course, we played our very worst down the stretch, so that never happened. We managed to lose our last 4 games of the year, and we're blown out 11-1 in our last 2 games. And we got swept here by the Chompers, who went on to win the championship when it looked like they weren't even going to make it to the postseason. That's how it happens sometimes here. They ended up being a 3 seed actually, going over us and the Narwhals. And then a 9-3 playoff run. The Chompers are the champs. And why don't we take a look at their roster and their stats to see what a championship team in this game looks like. So here we see AJ Ray, Jamal Henderson. These are the top 2 players, but they appeared to be very aggressive in the offseason in acquiring Archibald Tedson, Bunt Lane, 2 of their better players who I don't think were on the team when this season began. They didn't even play half the season, so at some point they made moves and they really paid off for them. Their leader in home runs was Morgan Scott with 10, AJ Ray 9, Jamal Henderson had 8. They had nobody on the team whatsoever bat over 300 in comparison to our offense that had many players hit above 300. And then for their pitching, I think this is where they got an edge, and I think that if we're to go far in this game, it's hard to do it without strong pitching. And I know that I have to get better just pitching in the game, but I think we also have to look at making a couple changes to our pitching staff in the offseason. They got a great year from Deshaun Short, Brock Wall as well, Jet Mashington, Domingo Morales is one of the best pitchers, gave them 46 solid innings, allowing just 10 earned runs in that stretch, one every 4.5 innings or so. One more look at our team before we go to the offseason. Players opt out and we start to make some moves. I really like a lot of the players on our team, but I wonder how easy it's going to be to keep them while also addressing other areas of concern. We need to figure out pitching, and I think we have to figure out maybe 1 or 2 bench players that can make more of an impact for us. We have Boof Cobb, who was outstanding, Sylvester Seymour, who's awesome, but I imagine he's going to test free agency, Ty Gonzalez, Neil Hope, we could see them test as well. I haven't done many off seasons here, but I have gone through a few. These were a couple months ago as I was getting to know the game a bit. So let's begin. Hopefully this goes well. It's the first one I'm really taking seriously, but I'm excited about it. The offseason is quite simple in this game. Players will retire, and players will opt out of their contracts, typically when they're over 30 years old. So let's take a look at the news feed here and see what's happened, as some players are retiring, including Remy Jean-Charles, who is getting real sick of everyone and goes into retirement. Goodbye, Remy Jean-Charles. It was a good run here with your baseball career. Nataki Mason has retired at 30 years old. So occasionally you will see players retire that you don't really expect, including Omar Serrano. Okay. At 26 years old, he opted out. I didn't think anybody would until late 20s, early 30s. So Serrano is now going to free agency looking for $13.7 million. Serrano did not have a great season for us last year, so I imagine he will be signed for a lot less later on. So here in the offseason, we have 32 rounds of free agency, basically, 32 days. And each day, everybody's demand will go down a little bit. So you can have your players you're targeting, but you want to keep in mind, you know, what's a good price? What's a good salary? How do you make everything fit? If you want to go right away and sign the best players, go right ahead. But you're going to be paying absolute top market value for that player. Now, we appear to have gotten really lucky here. Nobody retired, and the only player to opt out is Omar Serrano, who was our 9-hitter for most of the year, and I think still had a pretty good future, but it wouldn't be the worst thing to lose him and have to replace him. Tyrus Sparks didn't test. Waddle, Seymour, like everybody that got us almost to the postseason is sticking around. So what we can do now is maybe build a watch list of players that we are interested in and start to consider other moves. We don't have to release anybody right now. The way you make transactions in this game is one-to-one player swaps. So you pick to release a player while also picking to sign a player, and those actions need to happen together. So right now, we have a roster spot open. We should get an outfielder and go from there. Here are the top players, and I forgot until now, there are going to be brand new rookie players joining the league. And we have the youngest players right here. I don't know if they are all rookies. I don't think there are a lot of rookies that enter every year. But we do have a few players here. I think the ones that are under 24 years old. I know Matt Brewer, Great Hambino were in the league prior. So just a handful of rookies. I'm not sure if it changes year to year. But here's what we have now for young players to potentially develop. Preston Sullivan has really good power, very low contact. I think I will put him on the watch list. Finnegan Little, I will also put him on the watch list. But his salary would be a lot more. He's an A- overall player. Some of these young players end up being really good. Milk Gale, we'll put him on the watch list as well. If you want to target the cheapest players, you can also do that. They tend to be a little bit older and lower rated here, but sometimes, you know, if you have Charles Hart as a power bat off the bench, that's not a bad situation. 3.1 million. I think I will put him on the watch list. I'm also going to put Sebastian Ramirez on the watch list. Both could add some power off the bench. I see so many players that we would recognize. Chris McKnight. We have Sammy Hollins. Are you kidding me? Of course, if no one wants him, his price drops. Perfect power bat to add. I'll keep Serrano on the watch list, so hopefully I know when he gets signed by a team. I don't think he'll be returning to us. Let's also begin to focus on pitchers, and we might want to consider even adding really, really good pitchers, even if it means we have to release somebody. Say we released maybe Neil Hope or somebody else that would open up some salary for our pitching. That's going to be necessary, I think. I'm not very sure what our salaries are for pitchers relative to the rest of the league, but I imagine it's got to be pretty low. In adding Sonny Cooker, he became the second highest paid player on offense. So that was a move that obviously gives us less to work with for pitcher until we make another move. Do we look at maybe releasing somebody like Casey Daniels, who's making 7.8, and Boof Cobb has effectively taken that shortstop position? Astrid Morrison is only asking for $13.2 million right now, which seems like a really, really good price. We can probably keep the top pitchers on our list here and see when they start to go, and maybe look to sign maybe the last one available. That could be a strategy. I'll even put Andrew Johnson here on the watch list because his asking salary is not all that high, really. We'll put Mike Hendricks on the watch list. He is a reliever who has good accuracy and good junk ratings. We'll put Dante Alexander on the watch list as well. Velocity and accuracy at starting pitcher. Wait a minute. Cole Hartman coming off that amazing season where he led the league in so many categories. I didn't realize how low rated he was, or if he had some sort of regression or something, but he is out there. I'm not making any moves here in the first round. I kind of want to see things unfold a little bit, and we obviously want to get good value here, so I want to see salaries come down. Andrew Johnson is signed. Okay, yeah, that wasn't a large salary or anything, so he goes after the very first round. I kind of liked Andrew Johnson, maybe to replace somebody like William Lindsley if we don't want to stick with him. A handful of players have been signed. It looks like just a couple. Mostly lower salaries, lower rated players. After the next round, more salaries coming down here. And Elijah Cruz has now been signed by the Cobras. After day 3, only one more move was made. Lucas Hawkins, acquired by the Firebirds. On the 4th day, one more transaction, and that would be Pierre Winkleman going to the Dragons now. Sebastian Ramirez has been signed, and he was one of the players we had on our watch list. TD Appleseed signed by the Foxes. I think there might be a move I want to make now. We're on day 8. What about dropping William Lindsley and signing Dante Alexander, who has better velocity? The accuracy is a little bit lower, so is the junk. But I think that him also being a few years younger would be a plus. He's 3 years younger. This would be a $500,000 salary increase. And if we look over in these columns here at the bottom, it actually shows the exact rating difference. Plus 18 velo, minus 8 junk, minus 11 accuracy. What's interesting now in this game is, okay, you identify the players you want. What day do you start to make the move? Because every day you sim, like we just did here, obviously the salaries will go down. And now Alexander's is down to 6 million instead of 6.3, so it's nearly equal Lindsley's salary at this point. It's only 200,000 more. We go one more day. Let's see. Alexander doesn't appear to have been signed. Watch list still looks pretty good. So now that we waited a day, or a couple days, the salary would be identical. Alexander is younger, has better velocity. I think we're going to make the move. Dante Alexander is our first signing of the offseason. I'm not sure if he'll be, a lot better right away with the velocity, perhaps. But he's only 25 years old, so I didn't want to pass on that chance. Not sure. I'd like to know, where he would have gone if we didn't make the move, which day. But at least this way, we swapped out a B- pitcher for another B- pitcher, and we'll pay them the same amount. This way, what we do at starting pitcher is we have Tyrus Sparks, the ace. Then we have Medrano and Alexander, who are both 26 or under. Sheffield's 28, so maybe he gets closer to regression. But I think with those 4 pitchers, and hopefully with some development, we can make them better. From there, though, we might want to look at another reliever and releasing Harry Fitzpatrick Jr. Oh, wow, Zane Rose. His ratings are pretty solid. He's only 19 years old. $10.2 million. He's a starting pitcher, however. For reliever, I like Vincent Collins here. He has a $10 million salary he's looking at. I'd want that to come down a little bit. Because this is a hybrid spot, starter / reliever, we could go for another starting pitcher like Zane Rose. That would be a really interesting move for us to make. We'll sim a day here and see what happens. Bucket Ayers has been signed. He was one of the relievers on my list. I feel like that pitcher's going to be signed really soon. Salary dropped to 9.9. He'd be there, and he's only 19 years old. A chance to become one of our better pitchers. I think I want to make this move. We won't have like a huge surplus, but we can still make a couple moves, I think. And what might be necessary is cutting Casey Daniels, actually. We could have Enter Text and Boof Cobb play a bit more. Obviously, Boof Cobb's going to be starting. He was so good last year. Ollie Sparks plays second base. If we release Casey, we can find another infielder for very cheap, hopefully. I like these moves so far. We add a pitcher who might be an upgrade. He's at least younger with more upside than William Lindsley. And then we add one of the best rookies, 19-year-old Zane Rose. And we can play him in the rotation. We can play him in the bullpen. We'll figure that out. So if we were to release Casey Daniels, who is also 28 years old, Jordan Starks is available? When did that happen? we'd probably want to look at a very low salary player in this spot. I don't think I have a lot of middle infielders on the watch list here, so I don't have a ton of choices. I want to see these salaries come down quite a bit. I just added like 6 players to the list. We'll see. Maybe Latoya Harding would be a good addition. I don't need a starter here, though, so I want a backup and a lower salary. I suppose we're also still looking for the Omar Serrano replacement, so we should look to make that move here sometime soon. Serrano is still available. There's Tyrone Campbell, Tom Stone. I'm going to add Rocco Rios to the watch list here. He's a veteran at 31 years old, good contact, and I'd like to at least add another good contact bat if we're going to lose Serrano and we're going to lose Daniels in the same offseason. I'll even put Tyrone Campbell on the watch list. I think at this stage, the strategy is going to be to sim more days and see those salaries come down. We have a lot of players that we like, so hopefully there's still a few left here soon. I'm not sure at which point the signing starts to pick up. Nobody here in round 12. For 13, no more transactions. Everybody's asking salary is going down. 1 transaction made in round 14. Bram Atkinson is going to the freeze. That's a big signing. Again, just one more signing this round. Finnegan Little has been signed, one of the better young players available. What's also happening too is I need to pay attention to who's being released in these moves. I don't know if I'll want to make any signings here, but catcher RJ Macias, I mean, I should compare him to Aguirre and see what the better move would be for us. Aguirre's ratings are pretty low. He's actually listed as a first baseman and a catcher secondary, but I think the ratings would be better. Macias, okay. He went from making, I think, 2.2, and now his asking salary is 7.7. So we'd have to wait a while. No transactions here on day 16. We're now halfway through free agency. Only 1 transaction made here on day 17, as Mac Melendez has been released for Brady Myers. A couple more transactions have been made. Thomas Cole is going to the Foxes to replace TD Appleseed. And we have Dewey Weeby replacing Sean Sasso. I think a lot more transactions are starting to happen here. Round 19, 6 of them, the busiest day so far. So Evan Sosa is signed. Jay Berry is replaced. Terry Perry is signed. Gabrielle Benson has been signed. I think we played against her. I forget exactly. Matt Brewer is signed by the Scorpions, 95 power. Madeline Payne signed by the Dragons. This is still pretty good for the players we're watching. Only 1 transaction made on day 20 now. Mitchell Dalton to the Warhawks. All right, 10 days left to go. And a few more moves are being made. There really hasn't been like one area where it really picked up. It seems to be pretty spread out, which I think is good to make it less predictable. I do want to try having a solid surplus this year for development, though, and because we're filling out more of the bottom of the roster at the moment, I kind of just want to keep waiting. As long as I have a big list of players here I'm still interested in, and I have, looks like 9 players here, might as well keep waiting. Well, Milt Gale was signed, so that's 1 less player now on the list. Looks like 4 transactions made in this round. Latoya Harding is signed. Destiny Rockets. Day 25. I don't think anything happened on this one. 27. Getting close to the very end here. And Omar Serrano is signed. He is going to the Freeze. $5.4 million. I cannot remember what he opted out of. I think it was in that range. And Kyson Spears Really good power, really good contact. He becomes available. Tyrone Campbell has been signed, so the watch list is getting smaller. I think Darren Rose just got replaced too. All right, we still have RJ Macias, who is available. Charles Hart, Trim Winkelson. What can we do now? Rocco Rios is one of the only outfielders. I think the only outfielder here on the list any longer. 4.4 million. He's a B- player. There's also a couple more players who have become available. TD Appleseed, JT Taylor. So I think we can still wait. Nico Gonzalez, maybe? He has 10 power, but everything else is at least average. Keep in mind, we've yet to even try releasing Casey Daniels. I don't know if we actually will, but it's an option. Do we want to go lower here for the budget? And we don't have to make that move now either. Like, we can make moves during the season as well. We have a 7.8 surplus. We can get that to double digits by replacing Serrano as someone cheaper. So we simmed another day. We're getting toward the end of free agency. I think I might go all the way to like the last day. Great Hambino signed by the Razors. And we only have a couple days left to go. Rocco Rios has been signed. So I waited too long for Rios, but I had more players on the list now. Andrew Shields here is kind of interesting because his secondary position is catcher. That could be very useful, especially if he isn't a starter all the time. JT Taylor has some power. TD Appleseed, pretty solid. Quick best. Good speed. I think the salary is a bit higher than I'd want to go for the offensive skill set. Ja'Cory Day is also available, but he's looking at a 12.6 asking salary. We're going to sim to probably the very last day, but I don't think we'll have any trouble finding another outfielder. And all right, last round here. One thing to keep in mind too is that the asking salaries for players drop during the season as well. But right now we have to make a move because Serrano's gone now. We have to replace him with somebody. We are going to sign Preston Sullivan, who is only 21 years old, and the salary is going to be $3.5 million. So he might be able to start, maybe not. His fielding is low. He'll have to develop, but at least he's really young, and he'll help us keep our surplus open enough so we can actually make some moves there. So if we check out our economy now, the surplus is only 4.3 because it was still okay. I thought maybe it had included Serrano's salary because it hadn't been replaced, but no, it was already like that. So we may want to open up even more. If we were to release Casey Daniels, Darren Rose 6.4, Blaine Barlow 2.0. I don't have to make the move today. But what do you think? Should we release Casey Daniels, try to make some more moves, or should we just stay with the team as it is now? We made some good changes, I think, this offseason. I'm excited about it. And now we're on to the brand new season, everybody. And here is a look at the new roster. We still have a lot of the same players as the top ranked on the team. Demario Waddle, Casey Daniels, Neil Hope, Sonny Cooker, Sylvester Seymour, and then Tyrus Sparks. We add Zane Rose, one of the best rookies to come into our league this season. He's going to be one of our most well-rounded pitchers right away. One thing I see is a team weakness, though, is accuracy. Only 2 players or 3 players are above 50 there. So if I get a chance to do some accuracy upgrading, I probably should take it. But I like what I was able to do this offseason. I do think the pitching is going to be better. I'm not sure yet who's going to get that hybrid role as a starter/reliever. I'm also not sure it really matters a lot. But as far as the team overall goes, I thought we would lose more players. I thought Sparks and Seymour's salaries could double, so I would call this offseason a win for us. But what do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section what you think of this team. Are there moves that still need to be made? Are there other ways we can make this team better? And we can also do some customization here. I'll keep like stances and everything like that where it was. You can have like duplicate numbers here, so I never remember like everybody's number on the team. What do we got for a stance here for Sullivan? There we go. That's the batting stance. I like that one. I'm excited to see Zane Rose pitch as well. Let's see the... I can't change the wind up or the arm angle for him. But here's all his gear. Not making any changes right now. If we check on our first player development opportunities, we have Logan Aguirre. I don't think I'll worry about upgrading him. Rhett Sheffield, Tyrus Sparks, Intertex, Sylvester Seymour. I don't know if I'll go for any of these. We'll see. I like the one for Seymour, but I think I have to look at opening up some salary possibly to focus on upgrading. Here are the ages of our players, by the way. Sullivan now our youngest on offense, followed by Booth Cobb, Demario Waddle, Sonny Cooker, enter text. And for pitching, 19-year-old Zane Rose, and then nobody else is under 25 years old. So I think the team got better today. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section, everybody. And we'll be into year 2 with the Sharks here very shortly, playing with our brand new team. We will play opening day, and that will be against the Firebirds. I also got to play with Rose. I can't wait to do that. But that is going to do it for today, everybody. Please leave a like, subscribe, leave your feedback, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day.